The World Cup is just less than a week for the startup in USA, Mexico, Canada, and we are expecting a roller coaster of a ride in the World Cup. Today on the episode of Sports Preview on Gua Community Voice, we're looking at the selection for the La Roya. I'm talking about the Spanish national team selection. I am Oji of MW and I welcome you on board. Of course, Luis de la Fuente has chosen a 26-man squad ahead of the tournament in Canada, Mexico, and the United States, highlighting the presence of the Barcelona superstar. I'm talking about no other but the runner-up in the Ballon d'Or, Lamine Yamal. And very well to look at it, there is Yamal there is Rodri, Cucurella, and all of those who made it to that squad. The UEFA Euro 2024 winning tactician is just looking at the abundance of players that are at his disposal. With Barcelona superstar Lamine Yamal leading the way, 16 players who helped the La Roya secure that continental honors 2 years ago are in the squad for the global finals. In addition to Yamal, De La Fuente will be relying on the other key figures like Mikel Oyarzabal, Rodri, Pedri, Marco Correa, and what have you. So let's just go straight to look at the squad of selection. But I won't be doing that alone because I'll have with me Chiwendo who will be aiding with the analysis. Remember, we've been looking into the top teams in the World Cup and their selection to know if the selection is worthwhile to drive a team all the way to a championship winning World Cup outing. So we'll find out. I have with me the most, should I say, the most analytical of them all. Chiwendo! Chiwendo, a very good day to you.
Thank you.
Welcome on board. There is a lot of skill and experience in the midfield for the Fionte with Mikel Merino, Dani Olmo, Pedri, Rodri, Martin Zubimendi, while of course Victor Munoz is good from good form Enzime Lord, to bring a punch in the wing with Yeremy Pino, Nico Williams and Yamal up top. The very strong trio strikers to keep opposition defenders very busy in Boya, Iglesias, Oyarzabal, and of course Ferran Torres. Let's look at this squad in its entirety. Goalkeepers Unai Simon, David Raya, Juan Garcia completes the goalkeeping department. And I think all of these three goalkeepers are goalkeepers that can start for a lot of teams in the world.
I think the three of them are all starters.
Yeah, for their different
The
teams.
only pain I felt for I would say that I felt for that one person is Robert Sanchez.
Yeah, Robert Sanchez.
I think he deserves to be in that list.
Somehow, if Chelsea had a better second half of the season, because I feel like defensively Chelsea were woeful, and it
It
took
affected him.
a lot of things there. Now, I feel like the Chelsea players who made the cut in any team in the World Cup are players who you cannot do without. I'm talking about the Luis James of this world, Marco Correa. You look at the midfield, you talk about Enzo Fernandez, you talk about a player like what's his name? Caicedo, Moise Caicedo. So when you look at the caliber of players who made it to the World Cup, remember, Joao Pedro couldn't make it because Chelsea were woeful. Sanchez was affected because Chelsea were woeful. So I think these are the issues. So you actually need a team that is functioning well to be able to get a nod to the World Cup. And I feel like as the World Cup progressed, they knew these things were going to happen. And even if he had made it, he wouldn't have even been starting any game with the kind of form that David Raya enjoyed.
And he may not even be the starter. Because the coach have preference for.
I think a lot of Spanish pundits and ex-internationals are saying it will be a football calamity or crime to keep David Raya on the bench for any goalkeeper in the world. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be selection headed for the Fionte. And I feel like those are the moments where top coaches are defined. Make your decision and stand by it. And we'll see what happens. Unai Simon, if you can remember, it's a strong goalkeeper with the Spanish side. We've seen what a job he's been able to do as a goalkeeper. So if you look at that situation, you understand that probably he would have room for rotation. And I feel like if you have capable hands that you can rotate, it could put your team in a good place because games come 4 days, 3 days apart. And that will be that in that goalkeeping department. Defenders, Pedro Porro, Marcos Llorente, Americ Laporte, Paul Kubasi, Mark Pubio, Eric Garcia, Marco Correa, Alejandro Grimaldo. And I feel like for the first time in a long while, there is a very strong Spanish defense. And why I'm trying to say is that we've had days of Carles Puyol, we've had days of Gerard Piqué, we've had days where we could actually say, I mean, in the turn of the century where you can say this is a strong defense. But you look at what we have here, Llorente, Laporte, Kubasi, Pubio, Garcia, Cucurella, Grimaldo, Poro are players who can beg the court in teams and fight for places, I think.
I have an issue with Kubasi. I just have an issue with Kubasi because I've seen his game in Barcelona.
Is he going to get started in this team?
Yes. Who central defense will you want to start ahead of Kubasi?
Well, I think it's going to be awesome to see American Laporte partner Llorente in that centre half situation. One is experience and the one who
left for Llorente to make that decision. But I think because he's a starter, Kubasi is a starter for Barcelona, and you don't put a starter in a player like Kubasi,
Pedro Porro is a starter at Spurs.
Are you going to compare Tottenham Hotspur and Barcelona? Though they are not playing the same position anyway, Pedro is playing for the right side. So, but Kubasi is a starter for Barcelona. So it is likely there is no. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be shocked and surprised if Kubasi don't start
the games for the Fiorentina. So we see what he does. But I love it when teams are fielding players who will give headaches in selection. I feel like it's going to be an interesting World Cup. The weather, the time selection, the caliber of coaches, and the expansion that comes with an extra touch with the likes of Jordan, with the likes, teams that ordinarily without the expansion would have made it to the Mundial. So I feel like it's going to be a little banana peel looking around for some of these top teams. And for real, we saw it in the last World Cup where Saudi Arabia were winners up against Argentina, who were eventual champions along the line. So let's look at the midfield. We have Rodrigo Hernandez, Martin Zubimendi, who is not well trusted by Arteta, Pedri Gonzalez, Fabian Ruiz, Mikel Merino, Pablo Perez, that's the man Gavi, and Alex Brenner. And permit me to say that this midfield kind of lacked that expert midfield activity that Xavi Hernandez brought, that Iniesta could bring, that Fabregas could bring, and the whole Spanish vibe of the tiki-taka football could be missing. Because I'm trying to say, okay, maybe it's a Mikel Merino, and I'm looking at this list again, say it could have been just only Gavi. When we talk about creativity in that center of the park, I mean,
but you know that you can always pick Dani Olmo to play that position. You can always drag Dani Olmo to go into the midfield.
From the forward to drag.
Yes, you can drag him to do the midfield, and he knows how to give those creative passes. I kind of feel like if you look at it, the midfield of the Spanish side right now, who is a better midfielder than Xavi and Pedri? Right now, that is just what they have. They don't have quality midfielder like the Hernandez, and I think Pedri and Gavi, give it time, they will become the Hernandez and Xavi. Yes,
I feel like they actually picked so early, and that is why there is kind of too much expectation
on them,
walking around on them, and I feel like they need time. But having already won the Euros 2 years ago, they've even proven that they can very well rely on. So we wait and see what Pedri and Gavi could do with that midfield. And I think if you have the assurance of Rodrigo Hernandez, Rodri, the man from Man City, it's true he just recovered from ACL, but we all know what he picked up on his day. On his days, he actually picked up. A lot of persons are attributing the fact that City could challenge Arsenal for the title to his resurgence. Let's look at the forward. Mikel Oyarzabal, Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, Boya Iglesias, Dani Olmo, Victor Munoz, Nico Williams, and Yeremy Pino. I think the forward here now is where we could look at and begin to say, do they have that Spanish striker in the likes of Alvaro Morata, in the likes of Fernando Torres. I mean, those lanky pocket of spaces, movement strikers who
Pino,
can just get the ball.
Pino is that kind of
So you're
player.
starting Pino if you're Lefionte in games.
It's either I start Pino or I start Oyarzabal because these two players they give me that sensation that I like anyway because from the flanks we already have Lami Yamal, we already have Williams from those flanks. Nobody can be at this point. You just know that nobody can bench these two players. That is if Lami Yamal is fit enough to start the game. So I kind of feel like though the attack because I really will not say that Daliomo should go and be playing first now. That's not his position. I think Daliomo
You've already drafted
drag him into the
like, more
midfield.
creative midfield.
Yes, so it's like he's out of the equation right now in the forward. So I think it's going to be they will have issues with their top nine. They will have issues with the top nine, but the wings are okay. But
I feel like a lot will depend on Lamine Yamal. So a lot of people are saying this is a World Cup to win the world. Do you see that?
I don't think so. The expectation on Lami Yamal is too much. Yes, he was a revelation in the Euros. He did very well in the Euros. I don't think that pressure. The pressure is now on him. He's beginning to understand.
In the Euros, he went to the Euros with his assignments. He was just a boy. So I feel like it's his time to actually.
I do not think so because right that time the pressure was not much because people really did not know who Lami Yamal was. He was already playing for Barcelona, coming in as starter and all that. That pressure was not there. But all of a sudden, after Euros, Lami Yamal, that was a revelation for him. And everybody's singing Lami Yamal, and the pressure is getting on him. It's getting on him. And even you could see that even in Barcelona, the pressure is telling that he was going on injury, coming back, and all of those things. And he may not even be fit to start the first their openers. So that's to tell you the pressure is getting on him. And if you see some of the matches he plays for Barcelona, you could see that pressure. When he's not getting the goals, when he's not getting the passes, he wants to do too much. Once he gets the ball, he wants to overdo because the pressure is now much. We have Lami Yamal. Everybody's talking pundits. The medias, they are writing Lami Yamal. It's like Lami Yamal is built. Barcelona is built around Lami Yamal, and so it affected this game. If you look at last season, that's not the Lami Yamal we saw in the Euros. Okay. That's not the Lami Yamal.
So in your opinion, would you agree that the Spanish team will be built around Lamine Yamal?
Oh, definitely. No choice. Definitely, they are left with no choice. And I'm going to say it emphatically, it will affect Lamine Yamal's play. Because in the last Euros, it wasn't built around him. They just say, this is a young guy, just come and play. And he just went there to just express himself. And everybody was like, wow, this is a new revelation. This is a new Messi. This is a new Ronaldo. And all of that. The song started ringing. And maybe, I don't know if it got to him, but I think it's really affecting his play. It affected him in Barcelona. And I think it will also do the same in the Spanish.
Well, I must say openly, Lamine Yamal is one of the most talented young stars in the world. And I feel like he's one of those I'm looking at to watch at the World Cup. Every touch that comes out from him reminds me of Lionel Messi. And I feel like he's got more height, he's got more physical attributes to even be a better player than Lionel Messi. And we just see what the future holds for him because, like we always say, injuries are very much part of the game and you can't take them away. When you go, you come back, ACL, hamstring, and or whatnot, then that's when you realize that Obi is actually becoming the man. So let's look at the notable omissions. Like you rightly pointed out, the almighty Lily Whites, the almighty
White Angels,
Los Blancos.
White Angels.
They don't have representation. And for real, in the election coming through later this month, Perez
is already on Sunday.
Yeah,
the election is on Sunday.
Yeah, on the 7th. Yes, Perez is already saying, "Look, I'll be president again." He's going here to him with a 37-year-old, Riquelme, and Riquelme is saying, "Look, make me the president at Madrid, and I will get you Haaland and Rodri." Man City is saying, "Haaland and Rodri without Guardiola, that's false news." All of these, things happening in Madrid. They've gone 2 strong seasons without a major trophy, and that is huge for a team that is deemed the biggest team in Spain, and now going to the Mundial. They do not have a Madrid player who the Madrid fans could say, that's our man. And there is a Barcelona team that is fielding players
Dominated.
in a lot of wing. You know, we
It's
talked about
dominated.
Gavi, we talked about Pedri, Yamal is on our lips. Just look at that setup, Kubasi, and what have you. So when you look at that, you see that Barcelona haven't won the league, have exacted their strength to say, look, we will spend at the moment. So let's look at the notable omissions. Real Madrid's defender, Dean Hutchison, who you feel like should have been here. Villarreal midfielder Alberto Molero, and Real Betis attacker Pablo Fornals. I feel for Pablo Fornals, but I feel like in his position, maybe a couple of players who are doing better. In addition to Barcelona winger Fermin Lopez, who suffered a fracture in his right foot last week. I feel like if not for that injury, there is no way Fermin Lopez should have been making a case to get into that squad. So, what do you have to say about these omissions? Dean Hutchison, Alberto Molero, Real Betis attacker Pablo Fornals, and of course Fermin Lopez. Is there a player here you feel like will be deeply missed by the Spanish team?
I think it's only the Wilson that will be missed, because there is this thing about his kind of people do not really like his style of defense, but he's a very calm defender, always very articulate. He doesn't make slides without being sure. He makes sure he is well positioned, and I'll tell you, he's that very careful defender and makes very dangerous tackles, but carefully. That's a very, very experienced man that you want to take along. But I mean, he is playing the same thing with Paul Kubasi, and a lot of people will make an argument and say, no, you can't leave a Paul Kubasi who won the Spanish La Liga and be taking a Real Madrid defender who there were nothing to write home about in the Spanish league, not even a trophy. Of this is the second season for in a row. I think the Norton will get his chance. He's still a young defender. He will still get his chance probably when Mourinho comes into Madrid. Maybe he will begin to fly and shine better.
No, you're talking about flying and shining better.
or
When
maybe
you
he's
say
sitting on the bench.
when you say
Because he doesn't.
because we're hearing about
Jose Mourinho doesn't like his style of defense.
there's already a move for Konate
I mean,
Ongoing.
80%.
to go
But
for free.
but you know that Rudiger will be leaving.
Exactly,
Because
but there's already a move also for the Dutch international. What's his name again? The
Right back,
yes,
the left back,
the black guy. So when you
the price.
yes, Dumfries. So when you look at that, you understand that Mourinho is doing a reshaping. In fact, the World Cup is not over for players to make decisions, and already there are players shipping in and out of Madrid. So I feel like he should still sit tight and watch all of that unfold. Mourinho, we all know his kind of defender.
Exactly.
In physical.
I think Rudiger with Mourinho, I think Rudiger will still stay. Because that's the kind of defense Mourinho likes.
But going for
But,
Konate, who is 30 and above, I feel like he's thinking about coming to a younger, older person. Like I'm trying to say, an older person who is not so old.
It's like, but because if you look at it, Ibrahima Konate plays the same thing with Rudiger.
That's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
Rudiger
So-
is leaving, and then
Konate comes to take care. Remember, he's on a free because they are managing funds.
uh,
All the same, right before we sign out on this one, where do you see Spain and them? I feel like they're favorites to win the cup, just like France.
I don't think they're favorites. I think they will get to the semi-finals, maybe third place. They are not my favorites to win the World Cup. If you're looking at,
Being objective.
I'm being objective. I think the Netherlands team will get into the final. I think the Brazilian team will get to the final.
We talked about France the last time. Have you
Yes.
changed?
No, I have not changed. I think France will get to the finals.
Okay, so that semi-final is your suggestion.
Yes.
For Spain is nowhere
They're
near
not,
it.
not in that.
All
list.
the same, La Roya will wish them all the best. In fact, they play one of the best football in the world. A team I love to watch. They make football technically sound. In fact, you watch them and you begin to feel this is football made in heaven. This is the point where we'll be drawing the curtain, and we thank you very much for being a part of this one. Don't forget that the program is proudly sponsored by our friends at MaxBet. It's still www.maxbet.ng. You can go there and see things for yourself. Of course, MaxBet and Max Lotto, all of them combined to give you an amazing feel. Go and see things for yourself. This is the point to say goodbye. Thank you very much, Wendell, for wonderful, insightful analysis. From me, it's adios.